This is Paul Thomas, Senior Editor of Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Magazine, and I'm here today with Mike Meagher. Mike, thanks for being with us today.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
And Mike is the head of the Biological Process Development Facility at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And Mike, essentially you are a contract manufacturing organization, but clarify exactly what you do and how you might be similar or different than other CMOs that are out there.
Sure. Let's start with the similarities. Similarities in that we do work for anybody from large pharma, small biotech, the federal government, and we assist them in process development and GMP manufacturing. They'll give us a gene, and we'll do everything else and get it ready for clinical manufacturing.
And then you've had an expansion recently, and when is that going to be fully operational? Yeah,
that's something very exciting. That's something we've been working on for 20 years, actually. We have we just built about $11.3 million GMP facility. It's got 6,000 square foot of modular clean room. AES Technology and Biokinetics were the folks that helped us do that. Did a great job. The startup of our GMP utilities, our Wi-Fi system, our pure steam generator, our Wi-Fi distribution system has been going on for about the last couple, 2-3 weeks. And we'll start commissioning and validation in June, with hopefully we'll be done by about December of '09. We'll be ready to go.
And then hopefully you're going to have a lot of work and a lot of business. But what are some of the challenges that you're going to be facing? I mean, how many different products could you handle at a given time, and how do you juggle all of these different clients?
I would say, on average, I mean, right now we have 5 different projects going on, with probably about another 10 or 12 proposals out there to different entities. I could say that right now we could probably handle, of varying degrees, probably about 8 or 9 different projects. And when I say varying degrees, it could be dependent upon, if they all start at the same point, that'd be very difficult. But we tend to have overlap, like I think a lot of companies do in terms of our projects. And we're able to slip in small projects and large projects. I mean, the way we've approached it, and I think others will be too, is we do a lot of cross-training. We have staff that can do multiple different things, and we help them to train to be able to do that. So as needs change, I mean, there's times where we'll get a phone call from a client and say, hey, we got a problem, can you do this? And I've got project managers, they'll look at the resources, what the timing is, and we'll shuffle resources as needed. Just to meet, it's all about trying to meet the needs of the client as quickly as possible and as effectively as possible.
Because I think you told me yesterday that you had, once you had a client who called you up on a Friday night that needed some work starting on a Monday morning. I mean, is that essentially your life? Is that what you have to accept as part of being a contract manufacturer?
Yes, even in an academic institution, absolutely. Because it's we kind of have a mantra. Failure is never an option. Client comes first. We're a little bit behind the 8 ball because we're a university and we have to prove ourselves, and we do that. I think for this particular client, I mean, it's not uncommon. I'll get I got an email on a Thursday evening at 10 o'clock from a guy from Europe who was in the United States. Gave him a call at 10:15 that same night because his email said, hey, can I get a proposal to do phase 1 manufacturing for a protein by Monday or Tuesday? So yeah, we worked through the weekend. We spent a couple days after that, and we put together a fairly significant proposal for him. And what the clients don't understand is that, well, could you give us a cost to manufacture? And then when they see the cost, and they see it's a couple, $2, $3, $4 million for whatever thing they want, if you don't have the backup documentation to say, hey, this is what it's really going to take, because the majority of the clients that we work, we're educating them. They're coming to us and they say, hey, I need this. We want to do this, and they haven't obviously thought about all the nuances that's necessary to do that and to meet all the regulatory components.
And when you submit a proposal for a project, obviously you're competing with non-academic contractors, and you told me that lately you've submitted some proposals where you feel like you've actually been lowballed by companies out there that are really just trying to get business and submitting lower bids so they can keep some cash going in. You don't have that luxury in an academic setting.
Not as much. Well, the challenge that you have in the academic setting is that we have indirect costs that we charge to all of our grants and all of our activities, and I don't have it. That's a fairly fixed cost for me. I have some wiggle room, some negotiating abilities, but I have to go through the upper level administration of the university. So that's kind of fairly fixed cost that I have to deal with. We try to be creative with our clients in doing that. For example, if in large GMP manufacturing projects, we recommend that the client pay for the raw materials and ship the raw materials to us through our quality. We still through our receiving program, but it saves a lot of money because even $150,000 worth of supplies for a contract to do manufacturing is viewed as a supplies and is subject to 47.5% overhead at any university. So we try to create solutions that are amenable to all parties as best we can and be as flexible as we can. So yes, we've ended up sometimes being the highest bidder, on projects, and we've had to, which means we have to just become more aggressive and more nimble as best we can.
And you obviously have to plan ahead because you want to. Whenever you're handling multiple products and multiple drugs, you need to schedule those things, but you also can't plan ahead too far. Because
That's correct.
It's not really possible to establish a large backlog and have people waiting to get into your facility, right? So
that's exactly correct.
How do you manage that? How do you plan ahead but not be able to plan more than, say, 3 or 6 months ahead?
That's a really good question, and that is the challenges. I mean, from a university, we had a NIAID grant, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, back from 2003 to 2007. That was a 4-year grant, and it had to do with process development of vaccines against botulism. And that was a great piece of work that we had, and it provided a lot of security. The challenging part, as a university, is I try to find those type of opportunities. But you're right. Clients don't want to wait 6 months or 8 months or a year to get into a facility. I've had calls where I said, "Hey, Mike, can I get in in the next couple months?" And I'll look at our schedule and say yes. And he says, "Well, that's great because no one else can get me in right now." So the clients out there are also shopping around to figure out which one they can get in first. Who's got space, who's got availability, and it's a constant battle. As long as I stay in this business, it will always be the way things have to be done. Unless you can every once in a while score those big government contracts, which we try to do, but those are difficult to get.
Yeah. Just to finish up, then, what are the advantages of being in an academic setting, and what are some of the what are the reasons that you're obviously still going to be in business 15, 20 years from now? Why are people still going to be coming to you?
Well, I think what's critical. I mean, the one thing that we as a university offer that I've been able to mobilize is the other resources within a university. For example, we had another project come in that we didn't have some specific subject matter expertise, or SME that I hear. And I've got a buddy of mine who works in that area and said, "Hey, would you mind being a consultant or work on this project?" And sure. So one of the things that we offer at the university, and I think other universities can offer, is I've got a greater scientific talent pool to pull from that I can utilize within the BPDF, and that's even been encouraged by my dean and my vice chancellor for research of trying to utilize other resources in the university to help these type of situations. Other part is that because we're an academic institution, we tend to be more on the cutting edge from the science side. So what we feel we're good at is solving problems. We feel we have a lot of expertise and capabilities in the very early stages because we are used to doing research, but the one thing we've worked hard at is that we're also sensitive to the client's needs, and we have an industrial mindset, and we understand the need to go from point A to point B as fast as possible. You don't want to get sidetracked with academic curiosity. You have to stay focused, and we are very good at staying that focused. We can do this over here if you want us to, but we also understand, we tell them, we said, "Hey, we know time is money. You need to get to phase 1 as soon as possible, because you get to phase 1, you're going to come back and do more work, and we'll be able to do more of those tangent activities, because then you'll have the funding to answer those questions that you want to ask, but you currently don't have funding to answer at this time."
So you're as much of a business person as you are a scientist, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, which is dangerous because I'm a professor too. But I have a great associate director, Eileen McCulloch, who is she's got about 10, 12 years in business, and for all intents and purposes, she keeps me on the straight and narrow. Keeps that business component of what's needed, and that's the blending that we at the BPDF can provide. Is that we can live in both sides of the world. We understand how the two worlds connect, and we can translate those two worlds effectively to a client and get their product through as fast as possible.
Well, Mike, continued good luck.
Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate it very much.